Madam Speaker, Canadians donate their blood to save lives here at home. But now we learn a foreign drug maker named Grifols is profiting off plasma donated through Canadian Blood Services without donors knowing. Canadian Blood Services promised that none of the plasma collected from Canadians would be used in products sold offshore. That promise has been broken. Does the Prime Minister agree that plasma donated through Canadian Blood Services should stay in Canada? Yes or no?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Madam Speaker, I thank the honourable colleague opposite for his question. Canadian Blood Services is responsible for managing Canada blood system outside of Quebec at arm's length, and it operates on behalf of the provinces and territories. As Canadian Blood Services moves forward in its agreement with Grifols, we would strongly recommend and encourage it to follow the promises made when it signed the contract in 2022 to ensure the blood products are manufactured exclusively for Canadian patients and to establish the in-Canada supply chain necessary to produce them.
Honourable member for Riding Mountains.
Madam Speaker, Canadians are outraged to learn that Grifols, a foreign company, is making money off their blood donations without their knowledge. But the Prime Minister isn't outraged, and we know why. That's because Brookfield has been aggressively working to buy Grifols over the last year, including while the Prime Minister was chair of Brookfield. Canadian blood donations should save lives in Canada, not line the pockets of foreign companies or the Prime Minister. If Brookfield buys Grifols, how much money will the Prime Minister make?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Madam Speaker, as I had mentioned, Canada Blood Services is responsible for managing Canada blood system outside of Quebec at arm's length, and it operates on behalf of the provinces and territory. As Canadian Blood Services moves forward in this agreement with Grifols, we would strongly encourage it to follow the promises made when it signed the contract in 2022. Thank you.
My question is very simple. A yes or no question. Can the Liberals confirm if Canadian Blood Services is currently honouring their commitment that all products made from their blood donations would stay in Canada? Yes or no?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Health.
Mr. Speaker, while the Conservatives try to spread misinformation, the reality is very different. First, Canadian Blood Services manages Canada's blood supply outside of Quebec independently at arm's length from the federal government. HEMA Quebec operates the same way within Quebec. Both work with the provinces and territories, which in turn determines how plasma is collected in their jurisdictions, including the role of paid plasma collection. Health Canada is only involved in the regulation of the safety of blood plasma collection and products made from blood and plasma. It has no role in the day-to-day operation of Canadian Blood Services, no matter what the Conservatives insinuate. Secondly, as the Conservatives are all very well aware, Canadian Blood Services has stated time and again that it doesn't sell the blood or plasma it collects from Canadians. For the Conservatives to simply to imply otherwise will only spread misinformation and fear at a time when our provincial and territorial partners are working hard to increase their blood and plasma supply. Lastly, Canadian Blood Services have made it very clear that it is selling a waste byproduct called albumin to Grifols. Canadian Blood Services has stated publicly and repeatedly that Canada already has sufficient albumin for the needs of Canadians and is therefore allowing Grifols to sell excess albumin. What this means for Canadians is that Grifols is taking albumin, again, a waste byproduct, sending it to a manufacturing facility outside of Canada and turning it into life-saving plasma, which Canadian Blood Services then buys back at a significantly reduced rate, increasing the Canadian blood supply. In fact, due to agreements like this, Grifols is opening the very first manufacturing facility in Canada for plasma products in Ville-Saint-Laurent, Montreal, that will establish Canada's very first end-to-end domestic blood supply chain. To state this clearly, Canadian Blood Services is not selling Canadian blood overseas. It is working to increase our blood supply. Selling of excess waste products has no impact on Canada's blood supply. Canadians can rest assured that if they have donated plasma to Canadian Blood Services or HEMA Quebec, it is being used exclusively to make products for Canadians, and these products are not being sold abroad. Thank you.
The member for Riding Mountain.
Mr. Speaker, the member did not answer my question. Surely, Health Canada would know this. So is Canadian Blood Services currently honouring their commitment that all products made from their blood donations would stay in Canada? Yes or no, Mr. Speaker?
Secretary to the Minister of Health.
Again, Mr. Speaker, the reality is far different from the complicated misinformation the Conservatives would have Canadians believe. Canadian Blood Services operates at arm's length from the federal government and is working to increase the supply of blood and plasma for Canadians. We will encourage Canadian Blood Services to make sure that Canada's blood supply is always there for Canadians, and there's no evidence to suggest that it is not working in the best interest of Canadians. It is disappointing that Conservatives would try to discourage Canadians from donating blood to Canadian Blood Services. Thank you.